Army versus Navy is without a doubt the best regular season game you can attend.
If you think somebody can cover you, you're probably not going to get to where you want to get to because you have to have that FU mentality.
Episode 12, we are back. Better than ever, Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show on TLN. Kev Dukes, how we doing?
Doing well. How are you doing? And where's Hoagie?
Fired up. Hoagie is in Italy right now, hitting massive frogs. He sent me a couple of pictures popping up on the screen right now. He's in Italy hitting a couple of frogs. He's not with us today. Should we bring back the mannequin? I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Dukes, how you doing?
I'm doing way better than you and Hoagie are. Hoagie's in Italy. Hoagie's in Italy. But was he dodging the podcast? His trip came out of nowhere. That's not
Yeah.
Ohio State finally loses, and all of a sudden he's gone.
Yeah, we'll discuss that.
Leaves the country.
Yeah, leaves the country. He's fleeing.
It's just
he
a
might never
loss,
come
Hoagie.
back.
Come back.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. But we got another packed episode. College lacrosse, Mitch's mailbox, start, bench, cut. You guys know the deal. Let's dive right in to Q1, quarter one. College lax. Maryland beat Ohio State. Oh, God. Did anyone see it coming?
Yeah.
I mean,
Check the pick'em. Check the pick'em.
Man. Yeah,
Me and Dukes were both on the Terps this week.
I just want to say before we start, I don't have Twitter. I have Twitter. I don't check it a lot. I opened it up on Saturday. I read the first comment to the pick'ems. I can't repeat it on here. If you want to go check it out, you can. It was a heinous comment. And I just want to let you guys know I was a goal away from picking the Navy game correct and a couple goals off from Ohio State. So I'm still a nice guy, but Maryland beat Ohio State. Duke's initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really take anything away from Ohio State, to be honest. They were going to slip up eventually. Winning in conference play is hard. They ran into a Maryland team that was obviously hungry after coming off a loss. I think it was a pretty bad spot for Ohio State. I will give Ohio State credit. Notre Dame was in a similar spot when they lost to Maryland, and you guys picked Notre Dame at that time because you thought to bounce back. I mean, this was a tough position for you guys to be in. Obviously, I don't take anything away from them losing to Maryland. But, I think that if they got that win, I do think they could have the argument they were the clear-cut best team in America. But right now, I think they still fall in line with that 1 through 8.
You know what I think it is? And obviously my time in Maryland, they're literally the only team we've never beaten in my 4 years. Dating back, the last time we beat them was 2018. The year before that, we lost to them 3 times, including the national championship. It's like Navy hasn't beaten Lehigh since 2017. Mm-hmm. Each team kind of has their kryptonite, their crutch. That is definitely Maryland for Ohio State. And it is what it is. I think each team kind of has that. But for the Terps, what did it show you out of Maryland this year, Kev?
Honestly, I thought, first of all, when it backed against the wall, Maryland's going to find a way to win. They might lose to Rutgers. They might lose to Michigan. But what I was most impressed with was they had a 10-1 stretch in this game. And all 10 of those goals, except for I think the last one, were just straight up 6-on-6. Yeah. And so what we've been saying about Maryland is like, their offense is a little inconsistent. They maybe can't draw a slide or whatever. Who's their go-to guy in big spots? They got a hat trick out of both of their transfers, Matthew Keegan and the other dude from Fairfield. I can't think of Ford. And nice. So those guys stepped up. And then honestly, from the Ohio State perspective, I feel like Tasty made some big saves, but they were just peppering them from the first half and into the third quarter. And I think there's a few he probably wants back. And Logan McNaney was over 50%. The only games they've lost, he's been under 50%. So I just think he needs to be elite, and Maryland needs to figure out their 6-on-6 offense, and they'll be right back in championship weekend talk. And they did that against Ohio State.
Yeah, the face-off play didn't look great for the Buckeyes. And obviously, if they're shooting that many shots on Tasty, they're going to have to go. But in my opinion, like the Big Ten race is like kind of all over the place, and it's tight battle. Kev, you want to go through and kind of talk to us about, obviously, with the matchup and the result of the Michigan-Rutgers games, kind of put a wrench in a couple different things, and obviously leading up to this Saturday. But how does the Big Ten race have to shape out, and really what are the standings right now?
Yeah, so the way it breaks down right now, you've got 2 teams at 3-1, Ohio State and Michigan. They're playing each other this weekend in Ann Arbor. The winner of that will get the 1 seed and the championship regular season trophy. They also will be up for the winner will definitely get a first-round bye. All 6 teams make the Big Ten tournament. And then you got 3 teams right now that are 2-2, Maryland, Penn State, and Rutgers. And then you got Hopkins, who is 0-4, bringing up the rear right now. So you also got Hopkins, Maryland this weekend, Friday. So rivalry game. Maybe you get a little momentum going into the tournament, but I don't know about that.
Yeah. What do you think about that game, Dukes? Because I think Hopkins has nothing to lose. Rivalry game. Like, as bad as they're playing right now, I don't think that's as far off as we think.
Would anything shock me? No, but like going back to, I want to really quickly point out something with the Big Ten title race. I'm shocked by your guys' points because, in my opinion, when I look at what you do in the regular season, I think that actually matters more than getting hot for a weekend. Like, let's go back to Michigan the past couple of years. They got hot for a weekend. They finished the season strong. Congrats to them for getting the auto bid. But the team that actually wins the regular season, I'm more impressed by. So I think the regular season title, to me personally, holds more weight. But yeah, I mean, how lucky are we as lacrosse fans that we get to see Michigan, Ohio State play for a conference championship in any sport? That's really cool. And it sets the stage.
And hold on. You got the Italian in the booth for that game, baby.
You're doing Michigan, Ohio State.
Yes, sir.
I hate to say it. You're my boy.
No.
You gotta be biased.
No, I can't, dog.
I know. We gotta break. Like, how?
I just want you to know we're filming it in the studio, so I'll be up in Chicago in Big Ten studio. But if we're gonna be on screen, I just want you to know, watch out for the suit I wear. Just watch out for the suit I wear. That's all I'm gonna say.
I do have, like, obviously, like, Jay Billis has called Duke games before. Like, this happens before, but is there a little part of you that, like, wants a viewer that might not know you to be like, by the way, like, I played at Ohio State? Like, are you gonna like mention that at all?
I'm going to mention it. There's going to be a lot of flashbacks, but I still got to stay even. It's still going to hurt me to say Michigan. It's still going to hurt me if they win.
Yeah.
But look, we're in the position for a reason, right? I'm a media member.
You're a media member. You gotta. This might be your biggest test yet.
I know.
This is
going to be the hardest one.
This is the biggest game that you've ever been in. I'm
100%.
This is bigger than you actually playing in this time.
Okay, relax. Hold on.
I mean, when you guys play, these two schools haven't played in an important game. I mean, seriously, in your 4 years, did you and Michigan play in a game for this high of stakes?
No.
Right. Like,
no, we didn't.
In the game.
Even like the Big Ten semis or anything.
Yeah. So I know the past couple of years, obviously they have, but man, I'm really excited for this game. It should be great. I wonder what Vegas has for that line. I'm going to look that up, but like, I'm sure it's like almost like a pick 'em.
Kev, you got any tips for me in the booth?
Oh, dude, just give me a call like an hour before you go live, and I'll tell you who to look out for. That usually works out. But no, man, I think you kill it in the booth, to be honest. I know we've talked about it in the past. I'm sad you're not going to be on site for it. You know, I like seeing the field in the background, but I just hope they show you on camera a couple times. I'm going to have an eye out for what you're wearing. Yeah,
the suit's going to be electric. But I was talking to Hoagie off camera, the guys in Italy, like we said, and we were just chatting. If you go back to episode 1 or 2, how highly we were talking of Hopkins to what they are now in episode 12, like, Dukes, what happened?
Mitch, I promise. This is we talk about this. You were so high on them, and I was the only person being like, "Can we please hold up?" I was like, "Please, can we pause?" I want to give myself. I am wrong so much, and I said this last week to Clark. I was like, "They never tell you about your victories. They only shout your losses. They always want to tell you when you picked wrong against Notre Dame." I deserve some credit from someone out there being like, I was right about Hopkins. I didn't say they were going to suck. I didn't know they were going to be this bad, but I was like, everyone hold your horses. I don't care that they beat Towson. They beat Towson by 1. Like, never bought in on them. But I will say, this is a collapse of epic proportions. If you did tell me back when they were 4-0 with those wins that they missed the tournament, I'd be like, how do they lose? Do they lose every single Big Ten game? Didn't see that coming, and they did. But I can't believe this kind of unfolded the way that it did. But that's college lacrosse, baby.
Yeah, I think a lot of those, you mentioned it, but a lot of those early season wins, they just look different at this time. You know, I thought going to Denver and winning there after you had lost to them at home to start last season was like, all right, this is a different team. They're on a different level. But then, like, Denver doesn't look as good. You mentioned Towson. You mentioned Virginia. You know, those games just don't seem as impressive as when they won them. And now, like, yeah, same. Like, you guys were talking, I don't want to say you, Dukes, you kind of been on top of it, but you were talking about like, oh, you know, Hopkins, are they still championship weekend contenders after like the first couple of losses? And I'm like, dude, championship weekend, let's pump the brakes. Like, will they win a Big Ten game? I remember saying that kind of jokingly after they lost to Rutgers, but it's like, if they didn't beat Rutgers, who are they going to beat?
I was the first person I think that was like, guys, they might not make the tournament.
Yeah.
Because when you start, they lost, I forget what exact, I think it might have been after the UNC loss. No, it wasn't that early. But
UNC loss was the last game where they had healthy Russell Melendez.
Yeah, and then you just started seeing the way that it was unfolding, and then it was like, wait, they have a tough schedule left. Like, if they can't get one, they never had their bounce back game. We were talking about bounce back games like with Maryland and stuff. Hopkins has never had their bounce back. They were
never
begging
did.
for it.
Yeah.
And what you alluded to earlier, Mitch, I mean, when you think about last year in the last game of the season, like UNC was struggling when all these young cats were freshmen, sophomores, and they got that win over Duke and with Brendan O'Neill and them. So could they happen for Hopkins against Maryland? Sure, but I'm saying of course it won't. It absolutely will not happen. This team almost has no breath of fresh air. It seems like the locker room has just like completely just been like, screw it. Like,
Yeah.
and I think
And
Maryland's
I think
ready
the
for stuff.
hardest part, and I said this earlier in an episode, I think it was around episode 5 or 6, when your season's going into the can and you got like a couple more left and the weather starts to get nice, the mind really goes to different places. And I don't want to say that's what Hopkins is feeling right now, but it could be some of that where, they know they're not making the tournament. They got to win out in Big Ten. And, it kind of is what it is. But let me pose you guys this question. The last game that Russell played was game, I think, 4 for them. He hasn't played since. Are we going to get a red shirt out of Russell Melendez?
We should.
I don't know. Hoagie would know way more about like how the red shirt years work and like how much
I think
you can
he's
play, but
still
played-
eligible.
Yeah, I think that like there is
Because
like
the
a
new
4
rules
game.
change. Like, it's not like you just play one game and that's it. It's like a certain percentage of your season. But this would be his 7th year, I think.
Yeah, it's too many.
Next year. Because he has the
Yeah.
COVID year. He also has a year. I think he broke his collarbone when he transferred from Marquette.
Look,
Yeah.
look, Johns Hopkins is a great medical program.
Yes.
Get all the years you can get. If he's going to be going to
Yes.
a doctor, look, if he's going into IB, if he's going into like if he's an accountant, just leave, buddy.
And if he is going to become an investment banker, nobody's going to draft him. Paul Carcaterra. I got to get that on a T-shirt.
No, dude,
Yeah.
that was,
If you
that was
are
my
an
favorite
investment
takeaway.
banker, you're not playing pro lacrosse.
Yeah, I like love how Cart's like he's a hell of a lacrosse player.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need more of that P. Cark, where he's just raw
Right.
with it. It's like,
Right.
if you are doing this, this is your outcome.
I hate
Yeah.
when I said it last week. I hate when people like bounce around the idea that like lacrosse players for the most part like have different jobs and like sometimes those jobs take up more hours for professional athletes.
100%.
But Mitch, you were talking. I liked that point you made about like when the season's going down the drain, right? And your mind's
Yeah.
elsewhere. I mean, a lot of these guys like, semester's closing in.
Yeah.
Weather starts getting nice out. The streets of Baltimore get sunny. The liquid starts
Charles
flowing.
Street is bumping.
Bumping. Your girlfriend's leaving for Long Island in 2 weeks. You're just like, buddy, we got to get these. We got to start hanging out. Like that's all that's on your mind. Kind of is like the dog days of spring. You're not going to make a run at the championship. You're just like, screw it. Like, let me go enjoy my
It's
last
tough.
week of the year.
It's
Yeah.
tough. I can remember clearly my sophomore year. It was that whole first COVID year back. We had a Big Ten only schedule. It was miserable. We got COVID tested every day at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
I got a quick story, actually. We played Maryland at Maryland Sunday, a 7 p.m. game. We had to bus home that night. We got in at 3 a.m. and we had to wake up at 7 a.m. to go get COVID tested. We're all waiting to get COVID tested. There's a TV. Sports Center top 10 plays jumps on. Logan McNaney, number 1 plays his goal against us. And we're all watching it like, dude, is this really happening to us right now?
Yeah, that's
But I
humiliation.
could feel it. Like, we went 4-7 that year. And it gets to a point where you don't really have a chance against some of these teams. And the weather's getting nice and all these other factors are coming in. It's not looking pretty.
No, I will also I mean, I didn't go through anything like that, but I will say that with the COVID testing, I can only imagine that just completely adds 2x to that.
It was miserable.
Oh, I
It was
can't
miserable.
imagine.
But I think a team that's I still don't know what to think of is Penn State in the Big Ten.
Mm.
And they obviously have a big one against Rutgers. And I will be broadcasting that as well.
Dude,
so
this
stay
kid's
tuned.
unbelievable. This kid is
Dude.
unbelievable.
Do you have any tips for me, Dukes?
Yeah. Call a good game when we're going to come for your head. We're not going to you want to be on my Mount Rushmore in a couple years, buddy? We're going to go to the Anish Shroff, Paul Clark School of Broadcasting.
Hey, comment below if you want to see Dukes doing play-by-play and the Pelkinator doing color.
Hey,
Might
dude,
happen.
I would love that.
I did. Hey, fun fact about this guy right here. I used to do play-by-play for Dayton basketball on the radio.
Oh my
Dayton
God.
that was
radio.
probably electric.
Women's basketball I used to do.
We're going to
radio
make a
for.
couple of Big Ten calls.
You
and get you in the
can't?
booth.
You can't, Huskies.
Benanati, Dixon, sorry. It's Dukes and Pelkey.
Oh my gosh.
Nestler on the sideline. Dana Boyle.
Oh my
Hot
God.
seat. Nesty's coming, baby.
Gosh.
Oh,
What do
my
we think
goodness.
about Penn State, Kev? Like the ceiling
Dude.
for them is like, what are we talking there?
I've been like kind of the Penn State believer in the background. You know, I think I can get together at any point. The 2 games they lost, I don't know if you guys remember like the time period. It was right when like Matt Trainer was coming back from injury. Dude, he's all the way back. He had 8 points, 7 goals. They only scored 10. So he was in on 8 of their 10 goals. Matt Trainer, I think, is one of the best players in college lacrosse right now. And any team that has a player like that, I don't think you can rule him out. His only bad game that I've seen, really, and I don't even know if it was a bad game, but Maryland took advantage of a couple of bad shots that he had, turned him the other way and turned into transition goals. But to me, that's a guy who I think can take over any game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they look great. I think this Penn State-Rutgers game is going to be close. I could see a 1-2 goal game for sure. And Friday night, you know, not all the lights because Hopkins, Maryland's playing, but, you know, a lot of people will be watching that game, and that'll be exciting. But I think the most interesting aspect is this Cuse Cornell game that no one in the world watched except Dukes because he's got dough bags. Dukes, what was your experience paying the $20 stream?
Dude, I watched it all. Look, I love Corgan. I think he's one of the, you know,
He's a legend. That was no shame. Like, he's a great guy.
Yeah, great guy. I mean, was it the best production I've ever seen in my life? No, but it was a great lacrosse game. Well, great lacrosse game can sometimes overcome great production.
That's true.
That is true. That is very true.
I think it was a treat on Long Island. I think Mitchell Field, legendary spot.
Yep.
A lot of Chaminade, St. Anthony's games have been played there.
And the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse experience on Long Island is there.
Woo!
So get ready.
That's
how you get in the booth. That's how you get in the booth with plugs like that, dude.
Yeah. I'm actually announcing the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse experience this year.
Can you imagine? I love that. But I think initial takeaway is like Cornell, best team in the Ivy. Really no discussion there. The ACC race, though, you know, we're having Dominic Pietramala on at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. Who is the best team in the ACC?
Man,
we should all pick one right now. Let's all. I think
it's all matchup based, by the way.
Yeah, let's all pick one. Kev, you want to go?
I'm sticking with Syracuse. I know they lost this week to Cornell, but you lose to the number 1 team. They were the highest ranked team in the ACC. UNC probably passed them this week. I'm not sure. I got to check the poll again, but I don't know. I think Syracuse is the team out of that conference.
Where's the ACC tournament?
Charlotte.
Perfect. Notre Dame. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'm really not. I think Syracuse is really talented. If they played in the Dome, the ACC tournament, I'd be like, Syracuse, no problem.
Yeah.
It started off as a joke. I'm actually starting to be like, wait, are they actually just worse away from home? Like the grass fields. I know they played on turf, but like, man, I definitely have my questions. Now they kind of handled Notre Dame. I still think that in an outdoor environment, Notre Dame might get the edge. I don't think the separation between all the teams is that much. I think we'll really find out a lot about Notre Dame in that North Carolina game. Because I think North Carolina is actually a bad matchup for Notre Dame.
The UNC game is going to be interesting, but honestly, I'm riding with Dukes here. I think Notre Dame.
Really?
No, I just think Syracuse is second in my book. But I think Notre Dame they lost some guys. Obviously, we know that. But a lot of that team, majority of that team's been to the biggest stage. They have that repertoire to know what it takes to get back, the maturity. And I think what Chris is doing is something special, Jake and all those guys. And obviously it's been kind of up and down, and obviously that Cuse game kind of showed itself. But I think if they match up again in the championship, which they probably will, I think it goes Notre Dame's way.
I just think Syracuse has been the most consistently explosive on offense of those teams, and they've shown potential with John O'Derna to just come up with a lockdown defensive strategy. So I know they don't do that every game, but to me, they've shown the potential to be elite on both sides of the ball. And also, I think this is probably going to maybe ruffle Duke's feathers a little bit. I think they got the best face-off guy, John Mullen. Brady Wambach's in there. Okay, all right, I thought maybe you said Wambach, but I think that helps. And McCool's been playing good, so I don't know.
Yeah. And Dukes, I want to stay on your point real quick. You talked about Cuse traveling, playing away.
Yeah.
Cuse goes to Duke. Can they win there? The grass field.
I'm kind of liking Duke in this one.
Oh my
Don't tell
goodness.
anybody.
Honestly, I'm not far off.
Don't tell anybody this. I know we're just speaking on Zoom right now. This is getting broadcasted to a couple thousand people listening to this podcast, but I think Duke could actually win that. And thank God that won't come to bite me in the ass.
It's on the pick'em graphic. Now, are you gonna pick Duke?
I think I might.
Wait, Kev, knowing the way they travel, grass.
All right. Well, look, they just went. I know this is not the same, but they did just go a couple weeks ago to Virginia, played on grass, and won. I know beating Virginia doesn't mean
Hang the banner.
Yeah,
Hang
exactly,
the banner.
Exactly. But it does prove that they can leave and can win in an ACC game. I think,
Sure.
Duke will be a little tougher. But I don't know, man. I like Syracuse. I kind of believe in them this year. I'll probably come to bite myself on that one, but I don't know. I believe in them. None of us picked UNC.
I'm going to push back on Kev a little bit right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kevin, you keep talking about good lacrosse points and you're not addressing the elephant in the room. Can you please address the away from the dome thing? I mean, this is a real thing. It's like you bringing up like
you gotta watch out. He's sneaky. He tries to get around like the actual question.
Do you think that
Answer the question?
Do you think Syracuse has a dome
We
problem?
need black and white answers.
Syracuse has a dome problem, yes or no?
They are a better team in the dome. There is no doubt about that. I will say that.
We're looking for a yes or no.
They have to
not a
win.
poll.
All right, look, they're not the same team away from the dome.
Okay.
They're not going to score
next
17
question.
goals and blow the team out. But what I'm saying is they can come up with a good defensive game plan. Their defense still plays good. I think they can win with defense.
I didn't think I was going to say this year, but if Syracuse does beat this isn't the Duke of years past. If they beat this Duke team, I will start believing in them.
Okay, so that's what they have to do. They have to.
Right, and I know I don't.
Okay.
It just proves winning away from comfortability. You're not going to be able to. You're going to have to travel in every single NCAA game, unless you, except for the first one, which could be the hardest. Syracuse, we get Bryant, Army, years past.
Yeah.
Army.
It could be tough.
Yeah,
it's gonna fizzle out one way or another.
I do think that this is going to be a weird tournament, man. I think that it's all going to be
so wide open.
You also know how it goes, Mitch, with the RPI and the team that's closest to you. You played in the first round. There's a good middle of the pack this year that I'm liking a lot. I think this year we talked a lot when we first started this about Cinderella runs.
Yeah, there could be some upsets.
I have a Cinderella run making the Final Four this year, and it might surprise some people.
We got to do something for selection show Sunday. We got to go live or do something, but that would be sick because it is wide open. And there could be, oh man, just imagine. I'm thinking Army when they beat Maryland. Just keep on going.
Do you want me to say my Cinderella run this year?
Oh, you already got one.
It ain't Army, and I have this team making the Final Four. I think they could get screwed just based off one bid leagues.
Corey, I want you to save this clip. Hit it.
St. Joe's.
Oh, I love that, dude. I love that pick.
I think St. Joe's and their defense could pose matchup problems.
Look, I'm a St. John's guy. La Calandra, shout out to fellow Italian. Kev, from the bottom of your heart, you think St. Joe's is making the Final Four? Say it to the camera, yes or no?
No, absolutely not. But
Okay,
I will root for them too.
That. You go, oh,
No.
I love that.
I just love it because that's exciting and that's fun, and I'll root like hell for that. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
So I will.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm not a St. Joe's hater.
And let me just also rewind this really quick. I could also see the bracket and be like, oh yeah, it didn't break their way. The tournament is all matchup dependent. I do really like the St. Joe's team. I really like this Richmond team. I do think I think the Patriot League always has weapons. I think we were talking about Army. I think Army could definitely make the Final Four weekend.
Yeah.
Nobody will.
It's gonna be said. We got to figure out something we're gonna do for the bracket and come in playoff time. If you guys have anything, comment below. We want to get in the mix somehow. We want you guys to get in the mix as well. But let's flip. We're not really talking Virginia as much this year. Obviously, the record shows.
Mm-hmm.
They're currently 5-7. They play Lafayette and Duke. If they finish below 500, this could be their worst record since Dukes. You know what year?
I'm going to go 2016.
Close. 2004.
Wow.
You're talking about if they lose both games?
Yeah. Sorry.
The remaining games?
Yeah.
So they'd be 5-9.
Yes. They could win one, lose one. They'd still be under 500. And wow. I mean,
the two remaining games are Duke, who they haven't beat since 2003 in the regular season.
Which is the craziest stat ever.
I know,
yeah.
it really
And again,
is.
that's another team that has a crutch.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Good point. Good callback. That's why he's in the booth.
This guy's getting better and better every week.
And Lafayette's their other game. They're playing them this weekend. And like, that's usually like they kind of have their little tune-up game before the tournament time. Like they might lose that one. Lafayette's kind of good this year. But I'm going to cede the ground here to Dukes on what happens because that's his territory. Coaching hot seats, that's his territory.
No, so I forget. Someone was trying to I forget who it was. It wasn't the beginning of the season. They're like, Lars should be put in the hot seat. I was like, I couldn't agree more. A coach has been to a Final Four basically every single year. He's been a head coach.
I know, right?
Final Four last year. Yeah. Let's put him on the hot seat after 1 year. No. Maybe I don't think they'll even look at like assistant coaching changes. I do think that they just got injury bitten.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a lot of
freshmen
freshmen
like, some of these big teams, like they just have rebuilding years at the end of the day. But like,
they're also not as bad as we thought. Like they're you can't like just fall asleep to them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Like they are going to come up and like compete with you for 3 quarters, a half. Like,
right.
They still have talented guys on that team.
It's exactly what happened in the Notre Dame game. Like it was 4-4 halfway through the third quarter, and then Notre Dame just kind of opened it up. But I don't know, man. I think Lars is obviously safe. I think. What do you guys think? Actually, like who's the more, not to go backwards, but who's the bigger disappointment this year, them or Hopkins?
Hopkins, just given the way that they started. Like Virginia never started.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
And I feel like but if you look at Hopkins' record, like what those teams are now, can you say they started?
No, but the expectations out the gate.
Georgetown, Loyola.
Yeah, you can.
How?
Like they're still good programs. They're still like what did Virginia do? What was their win that they started?
Yeah, you would have to look at like what Hopkins peaked at. They were probably ranked top 5. Like
they were top 5.
Virginia
exactly. Virginia wasn't up there.
They haven't beaten a Power 5 school this year. Colgate, High Point, Towson, Albany, Utah. They have still not gotten it started.
Right. No. Yeah. I would say, Hopkins didn't lose as much. They didn't lose a Connor Schellenberg or Peyton Cormier, so I guess there was kind of like a little bit of an expectation for a step back year. Now, if Virginia comes out next year with fully reloaded and they suck just as bad, then we have to start talking about what's really wrong,
Yeah.
100%.
I think this year's a pass.
We were talking about Hopkins in the beginning of the season and being like how good they are. How about going back to when I think me and Hoagie were saying, and I'm not sure if you guys were saying it too, but like we thought Virginia was going to go below 500.
Yeah.
And now it's a real possibility. I kind of said it being like,
really?
wow.
We got to get some flashbacks because that's heinous.
We talked about it at Champ Series, and I was like, I didn't think they go below 500, but I was like, if there's a team in the ACC that's the odd man out, like they can't all be good. They can't all make the NCAA tournament. I mean, they can, but not this year.
No, you are right. We were saying that. I remember like Hoagie asked because Hoagie was really Hoagie was down on the ACC, I think originally. Yeah. And he was like, how many teams get in? I was like, I think every team besides Virginia. Like Virginia.
How many teams? Yeah.
Yeah, I think when we're talking about the ACC, I forget what it was exactly, but I don't know.
It'll be interesting.
Weird year for college lacrosse.
It is.
Yeah,
weird
100%. Year. It's so wide open. I love it. But it goes to our third game, and I just want to go on a little tangent here. Army versus Navy is without a doubt the best regular season game you can attend. It was my first time. We got a YouTube video coming out for it. But this atmosphere was absurd. Over 10,000 people. The tailgate scene was crazy. And I just want you guys to know, if you're watching, make it to an Army-Navy match, whether it's up there in West Point, down in Annapolis. Like, this was by far the craziest regular season game I've ever been to. Have any of you guys ever been to one?
No, I would love to. What was overtime like?
What
was overtime like?
I was so nervous. So to give you guys a little insight, we filmed a documentary behind the scenes with Navy, tracking Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, what it's like to prep and everything. I was on the sideline filming the reaction to the game. Overtime was so nerve-wracking. And, an aspect of this story is a big part of the Navy players' Navy versus Army memory was in 2022 when this kid, Jack Sweeney, hit the overtime game winner up at Army. And it's funny how it all fizzled out to now Jackson Eicher hit the overtime game winner in Annapolis. But overtime was crazy. Like the fans, everything was just like, man, it just showed like this is what sports is. And it was special, and I can't wait for the video to go out. But, man, it just goes to show when that game comes, no matter how good Army is, how bad Navy is this year, the records go out the door, and it's a rivalry.
Did you get the shot of Amplo hugging his daughter? That looked like you. Right
Oh my,
behind
yeah,
him.
that was me. That was
Yeah.
me. So he told me beforehand, he was like, Sophia's going to do the anthem. And I'm like, oh, absolutely. That's a great shot. And it was special, man. When she finished, I panned over to Amplo and he started crying. And I'm like, this is so cool. And it just shows, man. And it was something special, though, like the prep that goes into it, just with the team's aspect and just the fans. And I was just surprised with how many people actually showed up. They sold like, I want to say 5,000 tickets, but they easily doubled with +1s coming in the stands.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was pretty amazing. And that's 2 years in a row. They've had an awesome national anthem moment. Last year, if you remember, they had the electric guitar guy. So,
Yes.
it's like one of my favorite moments is not even just the game, but whatever they do for the national anthem of that game. And to be honest, when it comes to the game itself, Mitch, like a lot of people are kind of like looking at this and I think they don't really understand the atmosphere or what the Army Navy game, like what it's like what do they really mean when you could throw out the records? And people are like, oh, Army needed overtime to beat Navy. Like, come on, like, maybe Army's a fraud. I don't know. I think I'm more of a believer the way they fought back in the fourth quarter and got the game-winning goal in overtime. I'm in on Army.
I'm looking at I'm looking at lacrosse reference right now for postseason probabilities, and it's just giving you the scenarios. They finish off 2-0, and then if they lose to basically any team in the Patriot League,
You're talking Army?
Army, they're the highest percentage they're given with the loss is if they win over Bucknell, Loyola, and then they get eliminated by Navy, they have a 25% chance to get in. They're basically saying they have to win the Patriot League again with one loss.
God, that's so crazy.
I know. But, and especially with the Patriot League where it's a league
Cons,
where it's just like,
I'm not going to lie.
craziness.
I do want Army to get in. I really
do
do. I think
Yeah,
it would be a shame. And I've kept saying it, expand the tournament. It's like
Look,
crazy if they don't.
I don't want to be this guy, and I know I'm cutting you off, but is Loyola getting hot at the right time?
It might be. I want Cons to go off. Like I kind of want Army just to get eliminated, just to hear Cons be like, "This is BS." Like I need to get. It would be a great argument for lacrosse. In some way, it would open up a discussion to either fix how people get into the tournament or expand it or something. It would be a good dialogue to have for lacrosse discourse.
Yeah,
100%.
Right.
But like, let's run the numbers here real quick. Loyola comes off a win against Holy Cross. They beat them by 11. Navy beat Holy Cross in overtime. So Loyola plays Navy next week. Let's say they win that, then they play Army. Look, Dukes, you said it last episode.
No, I do. I think they're going to beat Army.
And they're rolling right into the tournament. Like,
No.
dude,
Kev,
I don't want to say it out. I felt like I was a Loyola hater in recent episodes. I'm riding high with the guys. When the team's peaking at the right time, Pelkader's there.
Kev,
What?
I'm not even going to say it as like when this happens, I need a full a full apology letter on the TLN Instagram. I'm gonna.
You're right. You're probably right.
It's like a full, almost like a posted ad, like hashtag Dukes was right, and people are like, "Wait, what is this?"
Yeah, we need to maybe map out the whole thing. And yeah, I guess you're right. Loyola could finish 4-4 in the Patriot League and sneak into the tournament. And then, I guess
no, not even. Who cares? Even if we're talking about these last game situations, can Hopkins put it up for Maryland?
We're just talking about can they just spoil it for Army? Can they get into the
not
Patriot
even
League?
getting in. Can they just spoil Army? I think they will.
I would hate that. Honestly, I watched, but my first Loyola game start to finish was this midweek game last week, the Towson Loyola, which went to overtime. But Loyola blew the game, and they had opportunities to win the game, and they just did not look good. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with Loyola, but
they've been on the wrong side of one goal game. I'm telling you, they are going to beat Army in overtime.
Can you imagine?
This is how the season comes to a close.
Gosh.
The Patriot League screws the Patriot League, and Loyola finally gets their 1-goal win.
I want to say something on the sidelines. I witnessed 2 plays in lacrosse I've never seen before. Number one, Dr. AJ whipping a one-handed wrap check as a long pull. I've never seen that in my entire life. You know how strong you have to be? None of us on this chat could do that. I just want to put that out there.
You haven't seen me at the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse experience at Mitchell Field by your pass now.
You do that. And then also, Amplo, I don't know why this hasn't been a bigger play. Maybe I just have missed this, and let me know if this is a play in lacrosse because I've never seen this before. AJ Marsh, 6'3", chiseled defender, Navy. Navy's on offense. The clock's running down. They give a squeeze call, 10 seconds left on the shot clock. They run a midi off the field to then put a guy on defense for then AJ Marsh to come marching down the field. They throw him the ball. He hits like a 30-yarder twice in the game as like a last-second shot clock. Like, do any teams do that? That's the first time I saw that. I'm like, what is going on?
I've definitely seen like late subs to get your defensive guys on, but like, when you got a guy like AJ Marsh who can just like rip. I think he's one of the. He's the dude. He's got like this screenshot because we obviously want to pick like the best frame when we're like using images of him like shooting or anybody shooting, and he's got this form like when it's like coming all the way over with the long ball where he's like a 90-degree angle. Like, dude, he just snaps his body over, and he's got 9 points now, 5 goals, 4 assists on the season. He's an absolute animal. Yeah.
He does shoot it extremely weird.
Yeah.
Yes.
He could just
like it's almost he shoots it so fast, and like you don't fix what's not broken, but like it's almost like if someone shot him like how to use like more like warp to it, I'm like it could get it like 10 miles per hour faster.
Right. Yeah.
I think
it's definitely not in his
that
wrist.
fast.
Right.
Over top though, if you put it at the goalie's feet, it's like it's game over. Like it's going in.
Yeah.
If you get the thing on cage, it's as donezo. But also like on that same factor, can we talk a little bit about Jackson Eicher? Just a kid from Northern Virginia. Let me start with that. Yeah. Hit the game winner, has 63 points this year. Like, obviously, CJ Kurse is the front runner for the Tour-Ton, but is Jackson Eicher second in the running? Like, he's the most sneaky 63-point season we've seen in a while.
It's funny because, like, CJ's been running away with the Tour-Ton so much that we haven't even really talked about the race and who the other finalists will be. I'm curious who you guys think might also be there, invited to watch CJ Kurse win. But he's one who I think definitely has to be there.
Yes.
He might be number 2.
What's CJ's points right now?
CJ?
Like for the season?
I have to look it up right now, but he's at
74.
The top. Yeah.
Is that good?
He's at 71 points, huh?
74 on the season. He was
74?
Right. 54 goals, leads in goals and points right now, yeah. And there's and to finish the point on Eicher, there's only 6 guys who have 60-plus points. Joey Spallina is one as well, but 63, it's
a good argument because, like, also, like, obviously, like, Notre Dame, like, I'm not saying Cavs going to win it by any means, but, like, they do play less games, so I wonder how much they'll take points into consideration versus points per game for, like, who gets invited.
Where's Chris standing points-wise?
I think he's probably like 50, 49, maybe.
Yeah, I shouldn't have just closed that out, right? But to me, I think, like, also the factor of, like, he's going to be there probably just because Notre Dame's going to be there. But I don't know. I don't know who the rest of the finalists are. I think Spallina will probably get an invite.
Yep.
Sam King.
Yeah.
But I really don't know. I don't know who else. And I was just curious what you guys think.
It's so crazy. Like if you're not in, and I feel like CJ Kurse has a great name, obviously a family name and deserves to be the Tour-Ton, but it feels like if you're not in the Big Ten or ACC and you're not like a generational talent, like no one talks about you in the sport of lacrosse. Like Jackson Eicher, sneaky 63 points. Like we're not chatting about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you think about a guy like Pat Spencer who had to be like just so elite. You got to be so good to get that recognition out of that school.
Peter Baum.
Yeah.
Miles.
What a pull.
I love that. But I don't know. I think the Patriot League is interesting. The Loyola win. I mean, if that happened, what are we doing? Like, that would be insane. But other notable results, Yale.
Yeah. No.
Is the take back on, Mitch?
Dr. Sy.
Dude.
Yale and the Pehlkenator. Look, you guys clowned me in the beginning. Corey's going to pop up the clips right now.
Yale's Virginia level bad right now, Mitch. There's no sugarcoating that bad boy. They're bad.
I was obviously there this fall, did the whole doc. The boys were great. I'm really still high on them after the 2 losses. And I'm a nice Italian guy, so saying that. We had Italian.
I saw they were receiving votes.
Buy stock. I'm buying Syracuse.
Buy the Bulldog stock. Talked to Joe Sy. He said, we're all set. I'm like, all right, we're all set.
How much money did Sy pay you, Mitch, to keep talking on the pod like this? How much did he slip you?
Joe Sy.
Dude, you hit him with a 500 under the table on his way out of the Sy Center.
You didn't give up on Yale. We dogged you for being like in bed with Joe Sy. you were like literally like when nobody was on Yale. You're like, I still think they got it. They did not have it back then. The boys have it now. They could be.
Because I know my dogs. When my dogs are down, I still ride with my dogs.
You knew what they were eating. You knew the preseason vibes.
Look, I know the whole thing. Shay and I are texting. We're all set.
Leo Johnson's been heating up. Chris Lyon's been heating up. Yep. I would not want to play Yale this time of year right now.
And
one of those well-coached teams. Like,
what's interesting, Dukes, is like with that win over Dartmouth, they clinched Ivy League tournament. So we know the 4 teams that are going to be in the Ivy League tournament. It's going to be Cornell, probably the number 1 seed, Princeton, and then Harvard, and then Yale. The unfortunate thing about it is I don't know if there's room for them to move where they could maybe not play Cornell in the first round in the semifinals. But even if they did, I feel like this is a team that's just going to get in there and like throw a wrench. Maybe they don't win, but they're going to give someone a scare in the semis, whoever they're playing against.
And this isn't a shot at Cornell, but it's not like they're immortal. They can lose. There's nothing
CJ Kurz had 9 goals in that game against Yale, and they only won by 4.
Yeah.
So what's he going to have to do against a Yale team that isn't terrible?
Exactly. And for a team that's like, I never want to play the guy that has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I think that's
what I'm saying with this Hopkins Maryland game Friday. I think I don't even know what the spread is, but it's going to be a lot closer.
Who's the Hopkins, Jonah? Who are you in bed with at Hopkins?
I'm a ball knower. That's all I gotta say.
What kind of video are you trying to shoot over there?
I'm a ball knower.
What kind of video are you trying to shoot down in Hopkins?
I'm telling you, you got nothing to lose. But Denver beats Georgetown. I mean, what's the Big East going to be?
Oh, Providence.
Georgetown.
Providence.
Yeah. Talk about another take that's back from the dead.
Yeah. Like again, Providence. I think kind of blew it this year. For the Big East is wide open, but get into the tournament, I think anything could happen. They've really hung close with the top half of them, and I don't think that anyone's better or worse. Like we talk about the 1 through 8, anybody could win it in the NCAA championships. I don't think there's anybody in the Big East that Providence is really better or worse than.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's wide open. I mean, truthfully, correct me if I'm wrong, the Big East is probably the most wide open conference we have.
I would say so, honestly.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, maybe the CAA too.
I think.
I mean, Fairfield just beat Delaware. Like, what's going on there? Like, Towson with the 1-goal wins too. It's like, what is it?
They play each other this weekend. Towson, you might not know it, they're tied with Cornell for the longest winning streak in D1 lacrosse right now. 6 games. Towson is 7-5 all of a sudden. They're getting it together. I don't know. I don't know if they actually do anything with that, but this will be the week where, Fairfield, if they're legit, if they're actually the Cinderella, the actual America's team, they'll beat Towson this weekend.
Otherwise,
yeah, 100%. I say this all the time to people that when conference championships come around, the best conference to watch championship-wise, like the tournament, CAA.
Yeah, I love it. I want to see what
talk about a war of the grittiest lacrosse players out there. CAA is by far my favorite.
What about the NEC though?
Dude, I'm telling you, like even the years when Hofstra and Seth Tierney were getting it going, it would be like them versus Towson, and Hofstra would be, a top 15 team, and we get screwed by the one bid. And they're just war modes. NEC though, A10.
You watching NEC front row, Pelk? Wow, this guy, he's deep in the game. He's watching the sicko matchups.
You guys forget, I'm a ball knower.
Did you watch that D2, Lemoyne Mercyhurst Redux, now as D1 programs? Did you watch that?
I did not watch that. If you watch that, you're a certified lax rat. It's okay. It's healthy. I
got to give them a shout out though. They're 5-0. Lemoyne is in their second year. Well, first year in the NEC, second year in D1. They could win that tournament. It's kind of between them and Robert Morris. They're the 2 undefeated teams in that.
It's kind of crazy.
Lower tournament.
Like the fact that 2 years and they're basically, I mean, not basically, but they could be in the NCAA tournament. Who's the coach up there, Lemoyne?
Sheehan or whatever. He's been there for forever. He's been there since like 1998. So
wow.
Dude, he's a legend.
Is not hot. Utah beat Jacksonville.
Freezing cold, literally.
Literally freezing cold.
Did you see the clip of them? Like they were playing in a blizzard last week.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, the weather up there. I did see that. But Utah beat Jacksonville 3-0 in the ASUN. Back on track for the 3rd straight NCAA appearance.
If they win, I mean, Jacksonville was a team that I thought could maybe take the ASUN from them. But also, Mitch, that Ohio State loss, not looking as bad now with Utah on a little bit of a run.
Look, you guys
I'm not falling for that. That was a bad loss.
Doubt your
that was an awful loss.
Keep riding.
5. It wasn't even a prayer.
Are you guys in the stock market? When it dips, you don't freak out. You just keep riding the bulls, okay? I teach you guys a couple lessons. That wraps up for college
It wasn't even a
ball.
game. It wasn't even a game.
I'm sick and tired of this. Let's talk a little PLL ball. Brendan Nichtern, he was at the game because his brother, little Nichtern Jr., plays for Navy. How crazy is that?
What insight?
Anyone know that?
For us? I did know
I got
that,
some insight. I interviewed Brendan Nichtern. He didn't wear Army. He didn't wear Navy. He wore Massapequa jersey. Electric. Electric. And I asked him front row. I was like, we saw some floaters that you're going to be playing in the PLL this year. Is that 100% confirmed? He said, yes. He's playing.
Right.
100% playing. He got the go-ahead. Kind of explained it to me. I'm a bougie kid from Northern Virginia. I wouldn't last a day in the Army, and I didn't really know what he was saying. And we're going to leave it at that. Redwoods trade.
Did he know it was an interview, by the way?
Huh?
You said you interviewed him?
Yeah.
Did he know it was an interview?
He knew it was. He saw the camera. It wasn't. I wasn't hot micing it.
Look, I'm just media member. I want to make sure that you get everything you need.
Yeah, he was. It was that kind of funny. Everybody
ambush journalism,
and he had a Massapequa mesh port jersey on. Electric. First time meeting him. Great guy. The Nichtern family, great. But let's talk a little PLL talk. Degnog trades the chaos. Kev, why don't you come in here and give us an update on where we are PLL world-wise, and also Trader Joe is at it again.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I love having Joe Spallina in the league for nothing more than just giving us something to talk about. And I think it's maybe his 4th trade he's swung so far. Degnon was good. I don't know why he didn't play more, find his way into the lineup for a kind of crummy Redwoods team last year. And when he was on the field, he was scoring goals. And he's got the stretch shooting. So 𝐂𝐂𝐂𝐑𝐄 and Spencer Ford, they get a nice young piece midfielder who can maybe shoot some 2s for him this year. And the Redwoods pick up a 4th rounder. I think it's a win-win. Spallina told us that he wasn't trying to mess up too much of the core of that team. I feel like Degnon was a guy who didn't get a lot of playing time for them. He felt like, all right, I can move this guy and get something for him.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously Atlas re-signed Teeter through 27. That's
kind of risky move, don't you think? Re-signing Jeff Teat.
I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that.
I would have signed him through 2035.
Yeah.
And then I saw some news with the Ian McKay's on the holdout. Ty Kurtz got released, I think, to the player pool, Delaware guy. So I mean, everyone's kind of making moves, especially the new GMs. I love having GMs. I like the GM move. I'm telling you, the emotional attachment's not there with these guys, and they're just like, I'm getting my guys in, or I'm doing this. And
if with a couple of the coaches that don't have GMs, give me your opinion on why they're not giving up that role to another person.
I don't know if it's not giving it up or if it's just it's not quite there yet. When I look at the Water Dogs, and I don't know if you agree with me not on this, Dukes, but they are a team that would, in my mind, be screaming for a GM. I think Bill Tierney wants to be a coach, not a GM.
I think they'll probably do it after the season. I kind of get that Bill Tierney's probably doing his draft right now. I don't think that you really need to be a GM to figure out who they're going to get.
Yeah, right.
I don't think they're too far off from being the best team in the league, to be honest. A lot of 1-goal losses last year. Obviously, back-to-back championship appearances, 1 championship win a couple of years ago. So I don't think that the Water Dogs are far off by any means. But when you look at someone like Staggs, I think Staggs is just a guy that wants to have the groceries to his own meal. And if you're Bates, it's like, well, I clearly don't have a problem right now. I'm one of the best franchises since the PLL started. So I think everyone's a little different, but I think eventually, when time comes to these guys, maybe Bates will give up power when you got to also put your ego aside at some point and be like, all right, I don't think they're ready right now. They don't deserve to.
One thing about Tierney, I remember in his pre-draft press conference, he said something along the lines of which I thought was incredible, but he said he had never cut a kid he recruited, either at Denver or at Princeton, at least for their play or something like that. Never cut. And he was that meant a lot to him, and he was worried about not so much who do I evaluate? Is CJ Kurz good or not? That wasn't necessarily what I figured was tough for Tierney. It'd be those tough cuts, those guys who you have to get rid of or move on from, even though that their heart is still in it. But you can get a younger guy who's going to be cheaper and better maybe. So I don't know. I feel like that's the area where Tierney will probably he doesn't enjoy that aspect of the job, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like that in that age and that many years coaching, like I feel like he wouldn't want to deal with just like not the pettiness of the GM role, but just like, I mean, the babysitting. It seems like, I mean, when we think of GMs, I just think of like players' salaries and contracts and everything.
Yeah.
And like, if you're a coach, you don't want to have to
Yeah.
delegate your time to that. Just do your
It's
thing.
not my fault. Not my fault.
Yeah.
Hey,
Can I ask you a question, Mitch? When we're talking
Yeah.
about GMs with, with respect to the PLL, within the NIL era, you're starting to see people be assistant GMs for their college football programs.
Yes.
Max Crosby's going to Eastern Michigan. Now,
Mhm.
you and Hoagie, right? Both have a podcast platform, both media members, both Ohio State alums.
The Ohio State.
The
You're right.
Ohio State. Can we see you guys being assistant GMs? Would you want to get that role?
I would never do that. And I think you've known Hoagie long enough. You could never see him doing that. I have no desire to do that. I could never do that. Look, I try to be a media member, a nice guy, but I have no desire.
Do you think that you could see that though in the lacrosse world, that you'll see former players become GMs for the lacrosse programs?
I do. I think we see it after 10 to I would say 10 years. But
I think
top recruits are going to colleges and being like, what can you offer from NIL standpoint? Those conversations are happening. These guys are getting paid. And it's only a matter of time. I don't think we're ever going to get to the football, basketball level. But, like, to have someone in there that, can deal with that aspect while the coach can coach, I think it's something we're going to see. I would say maybe in 5 to 10 years, but my mind still goes close to the 10-year mark.
What do you think? Yeah, what do you think goes into like a role like when Brennan O'Neill goes back to Duke and he's like the director of lacrosse operations or whatever? Like he's not the GM.
I don't even know if that's the right call though. Like maybe player development, like we saw Jared Bernhardt do that at Maryland.
Yeah.
But like if you're a GM, you have to have like some sort of foundational like financial skills or contract skills and negotiation skills. I mean, we're talking about a whole different role here. No, like salary caps and the whole bit.
Matty Ice, the producer, going, they got to order Jersey Mike's for post game.
That's disrespectful if that's what Brennan O'Neill's doing.
That's the director of ops, Matty Ice. Please get it right. God, I love that. All right, well, that wraps up college. Now, let's hop into the interview with Dom Pietramala. Now, into our interview with UNC Attackman, Dom Pietramala. Dom, welcome to the scene. How are we doing?
Doing well.
This feels great. We had Paul Carcaterra, Dom Pietramala, back-to-back Italians. I mean, this feels good. This feels very natural for the show. How does it feel to back up Paul Carcaterra, one of our own?
He's a legend. I got to spend some time talking to him the other week on his podcast, so it's good getting to run behind him after talking to him for a little bit.
100%. Obviously, the Pietramala family, you guys are running deep down there at UNC. Pops is the coach. Obviously, legendary player back in the day. Your brother's on the team as well, Nick. And your mom, Colleen, taking sideline photos. How does it feel to have really the gang back together where it kind of felt like that in Baltimore Hopkins, now down there in Chapel Hill?
Yeah, dream come true, being able to play for my dad. My mom kind of just picked up photography as a hobby. And, she's gotten pretty damn good at it. She loves it. I love that she loves it. And the guys love it. So it's kind of just everybody's happy over here.
I like that. And obviously, when things didn't work out with your pops at Hopkins, he helped coach you guys at BL for a season or two. And that was kind of really the only time that he coached you, right?
Yeah, so our junior year, actually the year we won with BL, he was helping out.
And now getting down there, obviously in your third year, what's it been like under Pops? Has that dynamic felt more normal? Or how's that been having Pops in the same locker room as you guys?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, obviously, like I said, it's a dream come true. Within the confines of lacrosse, he's just coach. So it's just finding that mix of dad versus coach. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that. I think he's done a pretty good job of that. And I think the guys have found a nice mix of being able to treat like us not as coach's son, but more just so they're teammates. Yeah,
100%. In your freshman year, obviously didn't go the way as planned. Coming in as a big talented freshman, obviously your Pops and giving you guys this big last name and kind of like this bullseye on your back. Things don't go as planned. You have a lower body injury and you redshirt your freshman year. How was that for you? As probably the first setback in your lacrosse career.
It was a lot. it took a lot to overcome, but ultimately looking back, I think it was the best thing for me. You have guys like Logan Wisnauskas, you have guys like Lance Tillman, you have guys like Connor Marr, who are just these big leaders, and just having an opportunity to watch and learn under these big names and these big time leadership roles kind of helped me or allowed me to become a different type of player and allowed me to learn things that I hadn't previously known and lead in different ways.
Who's the biggest older classman, the guy that really helped shape you when you were redshirting? You know, that year obviously didn't get too much play time, but that freshman year, when you knew you weren't going to play, who was the guy that continued to kind of keep you to the highest standard and help you learn what it's like to be a Tar Heel down there at Chapel Hill?
The two names that really jump out at me right away are Connor Marr and Alex Bresci. Two also Baltimore guys, and two MIA guys, but they're two guys that love lacrosse who had two completely different paths to North Carolina. But they're two guys that would do anything for the guys around them, and they're two guys that would ultimately give their life on the line for the team.
100%. And obviously this year, you're having a great year, averaging 3.2 goals per game. That's 5th in Division I lacrosse. How has this year been different to last year?
I think the culture is a little different. I think we have every single guy bought into the same goal, and I think not to say anything that about the other guys last year that didn't. I just think this group is just more bought into the cause and will genuinely do anything for one another. Where I think last year when we got into a little bit of a funk, we were kind of like, all right, like let's just get through this. Where now we're fully dive in. If we have a loss, nobody's satisfied. Everybody's upset. Everyone's trying to figure out what they can do to change that.
100%. Before I pass it to Dukes, what do the boys think of 𝐓𝐇𝐄? He's on social media. He's rocking it. What do the fellas think of that?
We think it's hilarious. In the new age of NIL, you got to find new ways to get out there and to promote North Carolina lacrosse. And Coach 𝐓𝐇𝐄 and Coach Bresci are really diving headfirst into this, and we love it, and we think it's hilarious, and they certainly love it as well.
I love that. More coaches need more of that.
Mitch, you got to get him on YouTube.
I know. We got to get something going. Bresci Pehlke combo could be elite.
Yeah, speaking of coaches, Dom, Bill Belichick, I'm a huge Patriots fan, so the relationship that Bill has with your dad, I've always followed closely. Pellegrino, he coached under Belichick, actually, and he was an LSM under your dad at Hopkins. But Belichick was at the game against UVA 2 weekends ago, and, what's it like seeing him around campus? Chapel Bill, seeing him at the game, seeing him around the facilities. Describe what that's like, seeing a legendary NFL coach, now college coach, around your campus.
Yeah, for me, it's a little different than everybody else. He's just Coach Belichick to me. He's been one of my dad's longtime best friends and good friends at that. And I've had the opportunity growing up to be able to get to know him and to have a relationship outside of football and lacrosse with him. So for me, it's not something super special, but looking from my team and then looking from the outside in from the whole campus, it's really a cool vibe. And everybody seems super excited about it and just the new opportunities that are coming in Chapel Hill.
For sure.
Yeah, Dom, I want to ask you about your teammate, Owen Duffy. You guys might be the most exciting young 1-2 punch. You guys rank 1 and 2 on the team in points. But I want to hear from you, what do you think makes Owen such a great player?
I don't think there's one thing that makes him so special. He's so dedicated and works so hard at what he does. But he's also such a good teammate and will do anything for the guys around him. So I think that's the big thing. And then I think you got to look at his quickness. Like for a guy that moves as much weight as he does in the weight room, he might be the quickest guy, if not the quickest guy on our team aside from Parker Hoffman. And I think when you combine that strength and that speed, it's just a tough cover.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was describing him as the most unerasable player in college. He seems to just do what he wants against, it doesn't matter who he's matched up against. But I got to ask you, did you hear this past weekend the nickname that Anish was calling you, the JG Wentworth connection, 877 cash now?
I saw it on the R Brownie Instagram, that meme Instagram.
Yes. But, let's go.
That's kind of the extent of it. It took me a minute to figure out what it was, but once it clicked, and I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
That's great. How does it rank compared to the other nickname? You obviously get Young Petro Boomin. What do you think?
I don't really get many nicknames. It's just Dominic, Lil Petro, stuff like that. But the ones that are coming in are kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I'm enjoying them too. Why do you wear number 77, by the way?
I mean, honestly, like I just kind of wanted it to be different. My sophomore year at Boys Latin, they just started doing like 55, 66, 70 setter and so on. And I just kind of wanted to be different. I didn't want to be 44 like my dad was 43. I didn't want to be 9 right away at Boys Latin. I wanted to be something different so I could kind of build something for myself, and 77 just kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, it's obviously coming out strong. I think one of the wildest stats that people might not know about is second on the team in ground balls with 29 as an attackman. Does that come from just Pops' grittiness on defense, or where'd you learn just to like get gritty on the ground?
I don't think it's something that necessarily I just learned overnight. I think it's a testament to Coach Bresci and our coaching staff and how hard they harp on ground balls and riding. And I think it's just how willing are you to try and get the ball back for your team. And I think I'm willing to do anything along with my attack line of James, Duffy. You throw Dupuy in there, you throw Brevin and Matt Reedy in there. And that's 6 guys right there that are willing to do anything to get the ball back and to extend possessions. And when you're willing to do that, good things happen when the ball's on the ground.
Let's flash back to high school. In your opinion, and you probably had this debate with Duffy, obviously he's coming from St. Anthony's, is MIAA the best conference for high school lacrosse in the country?
Yes, and I don't think it's close.
Why do you think yes?
I mean, if you look at Boys Latin, for example, you look at Wells Stanwyck, you look at Shaq Stanwyck, Logan Wisnauskas, Pat Spencer. These are all those are some of the greatest names in lacrosse, and that's just one school. You look at the more recent names. You look at McCabe Millen. You look at Truett Sunderland. You look at all these MIA guys that are really finding success in Division I lacrosse, and I think that's a testament to just how powerful that conference is.
Dukes, as a Long Island guy, you want to chime in there?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like the greatest lacrosse players of all time, they're all from Long Island. It's when
Can you give us a couple names?
I asked Deemer class, I was like, "Who's the best lacrosse player you've ever seen in your life?" I asked him, "What's the best area for high school lacrosse?" He said Maryland. I said, "Who's the best player you've ever seen?" He's like, "Rob Pinnell." I was like, "Who's the best player you ever won against?" He goes, "Mike Earhart." I go, "That closed my case. Long Island's the best place to play lacrosse."
Yeah, I think that's
it's different too. I want to ask you this really quick, Dom. Just what do you think makes up the characteristics of like a Baltimore lacrosse player?
Somebody described it to me today as a Baltimore douchebag. I think if you're willing to get gritty and you're willing to do the things that others aren't necessarily willing to do on the field, then that's the type of guy you want classifying a Baltimore lacrosse guy.
I will give Baltimore a compliment. They definitely have the best shooters.
Yes.
I do think Long Island has the better defensemen.
Okay. Interesting. I like that. Was Hopkins' game for you a home game in your eyes? Like, obviously, it was a little bit of a revenge tour for you and Pops and obviously your brother. But getting back there, was it like a home game for you?
I mean, not necessarily a home game, but definitely somewhere I was super comfortable. I mean, I've grown up there my whole life. I talked about it in the post-game interview. Like, there's so many memories I have there, and that's the place I grew up where I'd leave BL, I'd go straight to Hopkins, hang out with my dad. I'd play lacrosse on the field. I'd do schoolwork in their like facilities, and that's somewhere where like I built a lot of memories. So stepping back on that field wasn't necessarily an uncomfortable experience or something where it may be like, oh, like this is a tough environment to play in. It was more so just something that like just I grew up with.
Yeah, 100%. In talking about the team, who's the funniest guy in the locker room this year?
I think there are a few guys. I think John Moore is the first name that comes to mind. Number 70 from Long Island. He is hysterical. Ken Good, my roommate, he's a sneaky, funny guy. And then you got some guys like Antonio DeMarco. You got like James Matten. You have Colin Hannigan, who guys in my class who I just think are funny because I spend that much time around them.
100%.
Dom, I got one for you really quick. You just stated your case for why Baltimore, you think you're wrong, is the best lacrosse area. I want to ask this. We got Pehlke over here who's talking Big Ten lacrosse. We're just talking Hopkins, all this. Mm-hmm. State your case on why the ACC is the best conference in college lacrosse.
I mean, if you look at it, you have Notre Dame, Syracuse, Virginia, North Carolina, and Duke. I mean, like, I don't know if there's much more to be said than that.
What, dude?
No,
Ohio State.
I agree. I think if Hoagie's in Italy right now hitting all the frogs he wants. But I think this year, Big Ten might have the upper hand.
Dude,
Traditionally, I do think ACC is the best conference in college lacrosse. I'll say that firsthand. This year, I do think it's Big Ten. But it's obviously shifting a little bit the way Hopkins, Rutgers, some of these other teams are playing, but it'll all fizzle out.
Hey Dom, just really quick, just to go against Pehlke, they're big. The Michigan won the Big Ten back-to-back years, right? Like 2023, 2024.
think it's
the
pretty
last time
accurate.
that they beat an ACC team was 2018. Okay, yeah, just wanted to say that your Big Ten can't even.
If you look at the national championships, I think Maryland is the only one in the past at least 10 years. That's
No.
won this.
Ohio State went in 2017. Easy, Kev.
Oh my, yeah, and they're
Easy,
holding
Kev.
on to it. Kev, they're
Easy,
holding
Kev.
on to that one.
Hey,
hard.
I'm not saying
2025
didn't
is
go.
a big year.
I'm saying winning a national championship.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
that-
some
that's
schools,
true.
yes, some schools win them like UNC. No, Ohio State just,
Hey, soon. It's a different year. Dom, last question on mine, then I'll flip it to Kev talking PLL. We do a segment called Start, Bench, Cut. This week, we're talking socks. Start, bench, cut, low socks, mid-calves, or ankle socks. So we got no-shows that don't even come out. We got the mid guys that are like this, and we got just the traditional mid-calves.
Yeah, I mean,
Start, bench, cut. What do you got?
I think the mid calves got to go. Like,
Thank you.
The mid-calves.
Thank you. That's a new wave.
I think especially North Carolina, like the mid calves are causing some ugly tan lines.
Yes.
So those got to go. The no show for me, I'm an ankle sock, mid sock guy.
Mm-hmm.
So the no shows got to go. So I'll bench the no shows and I'm gonna roll with the ankle midi.
Yeah, I like those. I'm on the same wave.
damn, this interview was going so well.
Yeah, I think we need some clear-cut definitions because I was looking up pictures of you, Dom, before to see where you stood, and I was like, I feel like that's mid-calf, but it wasn't like all the way mid-calf, so we got to get clear definitions.
I mean, I'll say in games, I'm definitely a mid calf guy because I don't think I got the calves to be rocking something else. But it's only because the lack of my calf definition and not because of what I prefer.
Okay, so you answered that in general, not necessarily you
Yes.
on the field. All right, okay.
If you
I
had
respect
Alex
that.
Bresci calves, what are you rocking?
I'm rocking mid lows.
Okay.
I will say, I forget, like I might have been playing summer lacrosse on Long Island, and I remember seeing a kid wearing ankle socks for the first time, and I was like, all right, this kid's dumb show, United States of America, like this kid's gonna be so bad. Was one of the best lacrosse players on the field, and like right then I was like, there's a switch where like the ankle socks
I mean,
are
back
gonna
in the day,
Yeah,
I mean, if this
yeah.
was 10 years ago and you rocked no shows, you either had to be a total goon or the best player on the
you
field.
thought it was good eats all day.
Yeah.
They say you got to know the rules before you can break the rules. I feel like the same thing is happening now with the second bar syndrome. Everyone wants to wear their helmet back on their head now. I don't know. It's not for me.
Is that actually a thing?
Yeah, you can't see
Coming
like
back.
all these guys are
the
wearing
whole
their
thing, biting the mouth, chin strap, and
chin
everything.
strap over the mouth, and you're looking through the second bar. It's definitely like taking.
I'm not
off.
a big fan of that.
Yeah,
We got to
yeah.
save the cross.
I know, right? But anyway, Dom, I got to ask you a couple. Like PLL draft is coming up, and I feel like some of your teammates are getting slept on a little bit. There's 4 guys currently in the top 100 big board by Adam Lamberti, and I want to know if you can state the case to build any of these guys' draft stock. You got a couple short stick defensive midfielders, and Andrew O'Barry and Ty English. Your goalie, Michael John Ficaro, I think has been amazing this year and was great at Princeton before he transferred in. And then Paul Barton on defense. So if you had to make the case for any or all of those guys, why should a PLL team draft them?
I mean, I'll make the case specifically for our D-middies because I generally think we have the best D-middy room in the country. I mean, you have 2 guys like Ty English. Ty English is now an offensive midi, and he tends to get stuck on defense a lot, and teams tend to go at him. But people forget that he played D-middy for 3 years, and he was arguably our best D-middy for those 3 years. And he has a motor that just like constantly is going, and if you take him off, he's ready to go, and he can go up and down a lot. So you don't really have to sub him too much, and he can play both ways. And then you have a guy like Andrew O'Barry who is just a freak athlete. I mean, not many people know this, but he was a Fogo in high school. So you have a guy that can, like him, who can cover the way he covers. And then also he's a pole runner, man down. So he plays pole for us. He plays D-middy for us. And then you have a guy who could very well face off if you needed him to. So I think just that like ability to do multiple things is a great case for both those guys.
Yeah, I got to take a closer look at O'Barry's film. That's Brian Tevlin-esque.
Yeah, I thought of him right away. I got one more, Dom. I think the ACC's loaded with some good defenders. Like Virginia's got their length, and obviously redshirted, played 2 years now. Who's the best defender that you've gone up with?
Ever or just in the ACC?
You know what? Can you go both if that's okay?
Yeah, I mean, ever. The hardest cover I've had was my freshman year of high school, and I'm bringing it back a while, but Will Timinovich at Georgetown. I'm not sure if he's graduated or not. I think he is. But for whatever reason, I could not beat him, and he was a very sound, good defenseman. And then I think if you bring it to college, my time in college, like obviously this most recent game is easy. Henry Bard, he just covered me. He's a very good defenseman, had a very good day against me. But then I think you got guys. I'm blanking on names, but you have that whole Notre Dame defense. You have that whole UVA defense from the past. It's like there's just a lot of good defensemen in the ACC, and I think, I'll take myself over anybody on any given day, but there are some really good defensemen in this conference.
Yeah, nobody's stopping you, but maybe slow down. Like I know, like Sean Knight, I've always been admired. I mean, he's only a sophomore now at Notre Dame. I think he's a great cover, but yeah, even like someone like Kastner last year with his length. But
yeah, I mean, like if you think somebody can cover you, then you're probably not gonna get to where you want to get to because you have to have that FU mentality at some point, and you have to be. You can't.
That's a great line.
You can't think somebody's better than you, and then go out and try to be the best. You have to.
You've been Mr. Big Chill on the interview so far, but I feel like a switch might flip on the field. Do we talk any trash out there?
We talk a little bit. I think it really just depends, like how the mojo of the game is going. Like it's tough to talk when you're losing.
Yep.
But I also feel like we haven't been losing much this year, so it's opened up a little more like spots for me to talk a little trash. So I get it. I dabble in it.
So
What? Give us a couple lines. What have we been saying?
I don't think that's appropriate for the interview.
What about this? So you see Pehlke, you're playing Ohio State. You see Pehlke running through the box. What's your chirp to him? What do you think he's hearing?
Yeah. What are you saying to me?
I might just let him know that he's got that fake Italian in him.
I might drop the ball. God, I love that.
Straight for the heart.
Straight for the heart. Who on your team talks the most trash and is the best at it?
I don't think anybody talks a whole lot of trash where you're like, wow, that kid is like annoying.
Yeah.
I think the best trash talker is Ty English.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's part of that Canadian in him. I think it comes with the box.
It's so natural.
Yeah, it's just so natural. It just comes with playing box for as long as he has. And he gets some good chirps in.
Yeah, do you think there's an area of the country that has the best chirpers? Do you think it's Canada for sure?
It definitely is.
Yeah, I think it's for sure Canada.
I used to hate
even
Philly.
Philly's got the scumbags.
Yeah.
The Canada guys, like that's just in their blood, playing hockey and box. But the Canadians, like they would never start it, in my opinion. Like at Ohio State, when I was there, like those guys would always clap back if you started it, but they would just never let go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big agreeer to that. Like I'm never gonna start talking shit, but I certainly will be the most annoying person on the field if you do start talking shit to me.
Yes, I agree 100% with that. Last question on here. We do a segment called Mitch's Mailbox where we ask the fans a question, they call and leave a voicemail. And I'm going to ask you that question. I want to hear your answer. What coach that doesn't coach college lacrosse and can coach out of any league, NFL, NBA, NHL, would be the best college lacrosse coach, in this opinion, not Bill Belichick? You can't say him. So who coaches in a big league that would be a great college lacrosse coach?
I think my mind immediately goes to John Harbaugh.
Oh, okay.
Ravens guy.
Ledge.
Baltimore.
Another guy that comes to mind is the Boston Bruins head coach. I'm blanking on his name, but just two guys that I think like they just got it for whatever reason. They just strike me as guys that would be good lacrosse coaches, and they might not. I don't know if they necessarily even know lacrosse, but just like the way they coach, I think they're getting the most out of their guys.
I love that. All
right. Patino out of St. John's.
Yeah, how sick was that run? God, there was a TikTok of him giving like a motivational speech. Gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, I'd run through a brick wall for that guy.
Yeah.
Mitch probably has the Italian thing for him. He'd eat you up, Mitch.
Yeah.
Dude, he gave a motivational speech. It was just looking at every one of his players in the eyes and be like, "You're soft." And it's just crazy.
Yeah.
I think Hurley would be a good one.
Yeah, Hurley would be just insane. All right, Dom. Well, we appreciate you. Best of luck the rest of the season, and we appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was great talking with y'all.
Dom Pietramala, I mean, 2 Italians back to back. You guys comment below if we want a third on here. Should we get a third Italian?
We just get an Irish guy.
Yeah, just
Like,
one.
is this why you always have like a Notre Dame hate thing? Like,
I love
this
Notre
Italian
Dame.
Irish thing.
We got to get a couple Irish guys in here to kind of even it out a little bit. But now, to my favorite segment, Mitch's Mailbox. You guys call the number on the screen. Leave your hottest take. Gets played here live on the show. The question of this week: which coach that doesn't currently coach college lacrosse or even any lacrosse would be a great coach? We're talking guys from NBA, NFL, NHL. Which one of these big league coaches would be great at coaching lacrosse? You guys called in the number. We got these voicemails. Let's get into it.
What's up, man? Hey, Bill Belichick would be the greatest college lacrosse coach because his dad played and he played. So, I don't know.
Sounds like he does know.
Yeah. Belichick's, I feel like a cop-out answer at this point with just how much background he has, but he would be an elite coach.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Would love it too. Would probably do it for free.
I'm not going to lie. When he took the UNC gig, I was pretty pissed because I really wanted him to become that PLL coach.
I know. I was holding out.
I really thought that it was going to happen too, to be honest. It would have been because he would have been a great coach. And, you get the technical guys that have been in the game forever next to him, and he can kind of, lead the CEO operation of it all. And people would be so mad. And something I like more in lacrosse than pissing people off. And I love a move that I'll get angry at people. And I would have loved to see it.
Do you remember there was an interview a year or two ago when Paul Rabel went on Pardon My Take, and they were asking about Belichick, and he said he teased something about it. He was like, "Oh, we've talked to him about maybe like an advisor role or something." I was like, "Oh no, we need a coach. We need him on the side.
Like
see those reaction shots." Yeah,
I don't even think to be a head coach necessarily. Maybe lacrosse is different, that you need to think of strategies for substitutions. It's more just a CEO role. You got to have be a good motivator, control the locker room, have a good offensive defensive coordinator, and make the right hires.
Dude, we were just talking about GMs. Maybe he's the next Waterloo.
Him and Bill Tierney would be the scariest duo.
They run back the Two Bills documentary, 30 for 30. But it's
oh my God,
Tierney.
Yes, it's such a good call, Kev. That's such a good call. Part 2.
I think the thing with Belichick, though, he could run a 10-year career at Chapel Hill, and I still think that guy is going to coach somewhere else. I see that guy literally on his deathbed coaching.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like he just knows more about, I wonder, do you think he goes into the Chapel Hill, film room at all? Watches film with Petro?
Probably.
Dude, there was 2 weekends ago where UNC women played Boston College at home, and then later UNC played UVA, and he was just there the whole day. He was just hanging out at Dorrance the whole day. Oh, that was awesome.
My first PLL weekend, I always love the PLL. First weekend, I'm blogging for myself, podcasting for this lacrosse podcast that really got 10 viewers, a couple listeners, was blogging to a couple hundred people, started picking up steam. But the one reason was the PLL legitimized me, right? And the first weekend, I'm a huge Patriots fan, and Bill Belichick is right next to me on the sidelines, and being a 21-year-old kid going into my senior year at Dayton, I was like, wow, Bill Belichick is right here. Go up to him, and I just go up to him and I say, "Thank you, coach," and just walk away. They were trying to kick me off the sideline and everything. There was people at the PLL that were like, "Yeah, you can go say hi to him." They knew the gig. It was really cool.
So sick.
Dude, hold on, wait, real quick. I got to tell you my story. I met Bill Belichick one time when I was covering the NFL at CBS Sports, and it was at Vanderbilt's Pro Day. If we ever get him on the podcast, I have to bring up this story with him. But I was trying to find the entrance because I was trying to cover it, and I see him, and he's walking towards me. I'm walking towards him. And I'm like, oh, shoot, Bill Belichick. I'm about to see him, about to meet Bill Belichick. So get ready. And what are you going to say? I shake his hand. I'm like, hey, Bill Belichick, I'm Kevin Boiler at CBS Sports. I was like, is this the door to go in? He's like, it is for us. He walks in, door shuts behind him. I'm like, oh, man. So,
Dude, that's what you say to him? First thing, what about like big fan? Can I get a picture?
I
Like,
think it was right after the Super Bowl when they beat the Falcons. So I did say like, congratulations.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, we're going to the same place. Like, is this where you're going in? And he was like, that's where we're going in.
I remember he was talking to Mike Rabel. I didn't know him yet, and I was legitimately just like, they're like, you got to get off the sideline. You got to get off the sideline. Like, the teams are about to come. It's right before the first game on like NBC at PLL, and I'm just waiting for Belichick, and I just go, fuck it. I just go, thanks so much. He like looked at, I'm like shaking. I'm like, thank you. I
he's
totally
one of those guys you look at and you're like, does this guy hate me? Is he like me? I mean, you
Aura.
get no vibes.
Aura. Like that guy
Yeah.
has aura when he
Yeah,
walks in
he
somewhere.
does. Yeah.
What a legend. All right, next voicemail.
Best coach that doesn't currently coach Lax right now, but would be a good Lax coach, would be Nick Saban. I hate Alabama and everything and everybody that lives there, but God, he should carry his legacy to Lax, and it'd just be great to see him coach a new sport.
Where do you think he'd coach? What's like the Alabama equivalent?
He'd
Mine
run it
just
in-
goes to like UNC just because.
Bill?
What do you? Oh, like you think like what's the equivalent? Do you think it's like a Maryland? I mean, my mind just went to like the same school style and type, but like I think it's a Maryland.
Yeah, I feel like he could fit in there.
You
He
think
could-
Maryland's
he
the
could
best
get the
lacrosse
job
program of all time?
done. They have the highest winning percentage all time, 75%. But they don't have the most national championships. They went a long time without winning one too.
I went to
before
Duke.
2017.
My mom went to Duke for Saban.
That would make sense. Yeah.
But is that I
Rivalry
don't know
with
who
Bill.
said that in? Is that a cop out answer? You think?
For Duke?
No,
I
just
thought it
like
was
Saban as a whole. I mean, obviously legendary coach, but like, then can we just say like Urban Meyer, the Ohio State legend? Like
Yeah.
we're just saying coaches that are successful in their sport like would just flow right into Lax.
True. And I will say there's something like, I don't know. Have you ever been coached by a guy with a Southern accent? Like,
Oh, I
don't
know. It would be
It
so
would-
sick.
it
It would
would-
be
that
so
would be-
different in Lax too. 'cause
It
it's just
would. It would
not
be
a
very
thing.
different in Lax because you'd be like, do I trust you? Like you don't sound like
I-
a Northeastern.
Yeah, like I think we said it on the Dom interview, but like Dan Hurley, the way that he gets to players, like I think it rubs Midwesterners the wrong way online when Dan Hurley's like yelling at refs, yelling at his teammates. Like as a Northeasterner, like that revs me up. Like that gets me going. Like that's my common language. So I think someone like Dan Hurley, messenger wise, would work for me.
Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength. Like, I need a guy like cursing and yelling at me. I
Yeah.
love that vibe.
Oh,
and
same.
Dan Hurley would fit that 100%. I think he would be a great coach. And again, like another plug, Pat Spencer video is already out right now since it's going out on Wednesday. I asked him, and he was just like, "There's so much crossover from basketball to lacrosse." Like his coach, Coach Collins at Northwestern, when he was at Duke, he would go to Duke lacrosse games to pick up plays to involve in the basketball scheme, which is so
Love
interesting.
that.
There's so much crossover, which is so interesting.
Yeah,
It really
I'm,
is.
I'm actually thinking that a basketball coach would probably translate better strategically, like X's and O's wise. I feel like more,
100%.
Yeah.
than football. Yeah,
Rick Pitino
football
would be
you could
great.
get the toughness. You could
It's
instill
such a
that.
different game too, though.
Yeah, no,
It-
basketball you can get the X's and O's transfer.
It is 100%. It is. Mike Malone,
Especially
yeah,
sixes.
whatever.
Sweet. All right, last one. What do we got?
Mitch, Dan in
Arestia.
Connecticut.
Arestia.
First time, long time. The best coach that does not currently coach lacrosse, but would be excellent coaching lacrosse, is Gino Auriemma. The man is a master of scheming offense, and I defy you to watch a UConn women's basketball game and not just see a picture-perfect lacrosse offense. Pass down, pick downs, little screens inside to free up cutters, backside exchanges that leave somebody open under the basket / right on the post, if that's your lacrosse lingo. It's literally a lacrosse offense getting run, and they're draining threes and scoring buckets out of it to the tune of beating South Carolina by 30-plus points in the national championship game. Gino Auriemma could walk onto a lacrosse field tomorrow knowing nothing about the sport and telling him, hey, just do your basketball thing out here, and it would be perfect lacrosse offense.
Wow.
I'll hang up and listen.
Dude, what a call!
Yeah, it was a great
What
call.
Interesting, you legend. Shout out to you.
I was trying
He's
to
a-
think too of women's basketball because I think women's like I think women's lacrosse, women's basketball like translates so well with like what
Yeah.
the different formations, the whatever, like the offense, the motions. I think that was the perfect answer.
It was. And like, talk about a dude. He's like,
Ball knower.
Dan Arestia, not waiting for us to invite him on the podcast. He's like, I'll find my way in.
Yes,
we got
yes.
it.
Arestia, I know
Yeah,
you're watching.
100%.
You're going to come on here soon. But
What a guy.
I would have, like, we were talking about Dan Hurley, a couple other cats. No one was thinking him. Nobody was
No,
thinking.
but great answer. That
Yeah.
is a great answer.
Great answer.
I like that. Sweet. I think that wraps up Mitch's mailbox. God, that gets me fired up. Dan, he finishes with, I'll hang up and listen. Like,
Yeah,
it's already- he
yeah.
already
Like
knows
I know you're
be
gonna
on.
listen. There was one thing I really want to quickly say. I don't know if Kev, you might be able to answer this better, but I remember my dad when I was growing up, right? Northwestern was becoming a powerhouse in women's lacrosse. He was telling me, and this is one of those things where you get told something when you're like 8 years old, and you're like, this is the truth. And I don't know,
Yep.
never looked it up, and now I'm saying it on a podcast. But he was saying that the Northwestern coach back then, I'm not sure if it's the same one, but she or he would recruit basketball players, women's basketball players, and be like, here's a lacrosse stick. Like, because they knew the offense, they knew that the athletes would be like just as good, and then they'd win national championships. And I need to look up now if that's true or not. But I think a bunch of the Northwestern's like best players never really played lacrosse and just like were great basketball players and found the transition so easy
It
back
could
then.
be.
I didn't know that. If it is true, that's pretty
And if
amazing. I will
not
say,
true, let's not find out.
yeah, let's just let everyone know. We'll never correct the record. It was an awesome story. Yeah.
Shout out Mr. Dukes.
I will say, to just close the loop on that story and Dom Pietramala and Belichick, like Dom was talking about like how Belichick and his dad had been friends for forever. I believe that started from just like an unsolicited. Belichick just reached out to him after Hopkins won a national championship or something in 2005. And he did the same thing. Belichick did the same thing with Kelly Amante, like just called her up. It was like, hey, your team's amazing. Like, could you imagine just being like
Really?
winning a national championship and just get a call from Bill Belichick? He's like, hey,
We got
your
to
team's
ask
really
Dave
good.
that.
Also,
That's
Dom
an unreal story.
Dom Pietramala's answer for that too was like so chill and so cool. I was like, "Fuck you, dude." Sorry, I was like, "Screw
He's
you."
just
yeah, I was like, "Screw you,
He's just
dude."
Coach Belichick
Yeah,
to me.
yeah. He was like, meanwhile, this guy's like my idol. I'm like, what was it like shaking his hand? He's like, I don't know. That's just like Uncle Bill.
Yeah. Oh, Billy?
Oh yeah.
Talking about Billy?
Oh yeah. Well, to me, he's coach. I'm like, God, he's
I know.
God to me.
Yeah, no, literally. God, I love that. All right, last segment. You guys know the deal. Start, bench, cut. We have I feel like a traditional and non-traditional one. Start, bench, cut. Kev, I'm going to start with you because I feel like I know your answer. Hashtag no scrunch in the high sock. Start, bench, cut. No shows, ankle socks, mid calves. What do you got?
All right. Yeah, I know I'm the representative old head every time we do this segment, but to me, it's mid calf, start, and then I'd cut both of the other ones, to be honest. You got to be mid calf.
You're not even benching.
Yeah. No, and we're not pulling them all the way up, Mitch. You got to have a strategic crink in there, make it look like you didn't care about it.
Yeah.
But I got to say, the greatest chirp and the greatest identifier of a scrub was if you had cold ankles. Dukes called it out earlier. I think it's completely wrong now that guys are fooling defenses by having ankle socks and wearing their helmet up back on their head looking through the second bar. It is not fair.
I don't like that.
To scouting and game planning. You have to know who the scrubs and the fishes are right away.
Especially in the summer circuit where you can't look at the film room in high school lacrosse. Like you only know film in one way in summer lacrosse. And it's looking at the guy on the sideline, be like, all right, he's coming out. All right, I'm not trying too much this game. I'm getting the guy's
100%.
ankle socks.
I love that. So Kev, quick one for you. You are starting high. You're starting mid calves. You're benching. Wait, hold on. You're cutting everything else. What about if I throw in an adrenaline sock? Is that a bench or is that still a cut?
I'll bench it. I'll bench it out of respect.
Out of respect.
But if I had to go through the game, I'm going to say bench the ankle or low, and the no shows. No shows can never be done. Against
Interesting.
that.
Dukes, what do you got?
I'm starting mid calves, and I'm not even just starting mid calves. I'm doing mid calves. I'm wearing one. I'm flipping the other one inside out, putting that bad boy on, flipping under the Nike symbol so you get a Nike symbol going the right way and then the upside down way. Make it exactly what Kev said. You give it a little crinkle down so like people like, oh, I didn't like want to get it so high. It was a right way to do it. 2012 was a beautiful time for lacrosse. And these kids nowadays are trying to ruin all the progress we made in swag. And then I'm gonna bench. I will say, Dom was on to something. The mid to low ankle socks I am liking. There is a perfect sock length that I don't think is popularized, but there is a right way to do it. I think he was kind of referring to that, so I do like that one. And then Kev nailed it. Kev was perfect top to bottom. I mean, it was the best segment I've ever done with him. He just completely cleaned up on it. Throw ankle socks away forever. Get them out of my face. Get them out of my sport. If they are around by the time I'm 35, which is like 8 years from now or something, and there's still ankle socks in my game, I'm done covering the sport. Because it's like, it's gone. It's not the sport that I knew.
God, you guys are getting old quick.
Dude,
I refer to you guys as boomers.
You're from Virginia. You're like 27 playing college lacrosse.
I'm a start bench cut. I am starting. I don't love the term mid-calf because I don't even know if that's what you call it, but I'm starting mid-calves. It's like the little guys go right above your ankle. They got the check, not hitting your calf. I'm going to bench no-shows. I don't love the no-shows, especially if you don't have big calves. You look like an absolute pencil out there. And then I'm cutting. Wait, did I say bench?
I don't think you know what mid calves are.
You were
Wait,
like,
hold on,
you are. I hate you.
Hold on. Wait, I think I might have messed that up. I said start mid calves.
Yeah,
but I don't think you.
I don't think you know what a mid calf is, dude.
Dude,
I meant
comes up to the middle of your calf. Yeah, dude.
I'm a numbnut. I'm starting ankle socks, the little ricks that go right above your ankle bone. I am benching mid calves, and I'm cutting no shows. I think if you rock no shows and you have no calves, you look like a total needle. And you know, Duke. We've seen Duke's calves, and you know, sometimes wears Hoka's with no show socks, and you're like, what is this guy doing? It's suspect.
Yeah, no, it's still
Dukes,
Dust Mitch. It's still Dust Mitch in a
show.
It's still Dust Mitch in a race.
Dukes,
Mitch
show,
dusted in a race to me.
Do you have any fun facts to leave the fans with?
Oh my God! Yeah, I got my fun fact of the day. Ohio State has never won a national championship under Mitch. See, that's what you get. We told you last episode, don't be doing this stuff to me. Don't be putting me on the spot.
God. See you guys next Wednesday.